What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Eric, and today I'm going to review a film called Dangerous. I had no intentions of reviewing this movie. I just picked it up at the Redbox one day. I was actually browsing online at redbox.com. I still check out the Redbox, yes. And, I saw this film on there. I was like, you know what? It sounds interesting. I went ahead and reserved it. I went and picked it up. And I thought, okay, a good time. I don't think it's going to be a masterpiece. I don't think it's going to be great. But how bad can it be? It's got Mel Gibson in it. It's got Scott Eastwood. It's got Clint Eastwood's boy. Come on. And then I read the synopsis here. Ex-con and reformed sociopath Dylan Forrester is trying to quietly serve out his parole with the help of a steady supply of antidepressants and his eccentric psychiatrist Mel Gibson. I'm intrigued right away. I'm thinking like, okay, he's going to be going and talking to Mel Gibson. It's going to be kind of a thing like we've seen in The Sopranos, another show that I'm reviewing, but also analyze this, analyze that. Robert De Niro, Robin Williams has been in a couple, you movies, psychiatry movies where the guy goes to visit the psychiatrist. Always intriguing, always fun. I could just imagine Mel Gibson being this eccentric psychiatrist. This guy's a sociopath, but he's trying to get better in a way. He's at least trying to get treatment. So, hey, I mean, it sounded interesting. Yeah, none of that happens. So, but when his brother dies under mysterious circumstances, Dylan breaks parole with a dogged FBI agent on his trail, goes to uncover the truth. A band of heavily armed mercenaries want something Dylan's brother was hiding, and Dylan will need all his guile and tactical skills to survive in this action-packed thriller. How bad can it be? How bad can it be? Sounds fun, action-packed, good cast. Mel Gibson's going to be entertaining. I checked it out, man. Ladies and gentlemen, this movie has one of the worst scripts I've seen as far as just assuming that their audience is just nothing but complete and utter idiots. They think we're morons. I'm going to get into some of the lines in this movie. But first, let me say a few positives. I do like the concept. It is an interesting concept of this guy being a sociopath and getting out of prison, breaks parole, ends up going to his brother's funeral, and then craziness happens there. It's on some island. Mercenaries show up looking for something that his brother had. But everyone just assumes, all of his family just assume that they're there for him because he's bad news. They don't like him. They don't like him for a good reason. He's a sociopath. He's selfish. He doesn't care about anyone else. But he is trying to change, and that adds some comedic value to the movie. I'll talk about that in a minute. What's comedy in this movie and what's not, or at least what's meant to be comedy and what's not. Sometimes hard to figure out. This movie certainly does have a so bad it's good quality. It certainly does. You may find yourself in the last 30, 45 minutes just laughing. And you may be thinking, I don't think that was supposed to be funny. But the first 45 minutes or so is actually very frustrating. So really the only positives I have, and the cinematography is fine. I thought the cinematography, the action, the shots, some of that looked very competent, and the acting overall, even though I think it was nominated for a couple of Razzies, for the acting, I didn't find the acting like god awful. That's not what bothered me about this movie. The main character is, he's what he is. He's a sociopath. He's not the most likable, but he kind of is because he's trying. And you appreciate that because I don't know if that's really happens. I'm not a psychiatrist, but it feels like a sociopath is a sociopath, but I guess, at least he's trying. He knows something's wrong with him and he's trying, and it makes him somewhat likable. He doesn't have a lot of charm or anything, but there are moments where, he does open up a little bit, especially when he's talking to Mel Gibson, which he never does in person, which was just a big disappointment for me. Mel Gibson talks to nobody. Mel Gibson has maybe one scene with another person, very briefly. Mel Gibson is on his own in this movie. Mel Gibson is nothing but what I feared, just a big name to throw on to the card saying, hey, Mel Gibson's in this movie. Mel Gibson is very briefly in the movie, and when he's on the phone. He is being eccentric. He is kind of funny in the movie, somewhat entertaining, but it's very rare. And it's just, I felt like so much more could have been done with that. But that's really not you talk about, so much more could have been done with a good concept. This is a movie where you have a really good concept and you really throw it away because you think your audience are a bunch of idiots. And there's no other way to explain some of the lines of dialogue in this movie. First of all, it's really hammered home over and over that this guy's a sociopath. We get it. To the point in this movie that he says things that even sociopaths may be sociopaths, but they're not total morons. Like, they understand other people care. So there's a moment in this movie where he's at his brother's funeral. His mom is crying. She's at least upset. He goes up to another character. He's like, what's wrong with her? And I'm sitting there like, duh, her son just died, your brother, but okay. That was enough right there. That line right there was enough to get us to realize, like, dude, this dude's a sociopath. But that was fine. Then the other person was like, her son just died. And then he's like, that was a couple days ago. Now it's like, okay, he might be a sociopath, but he's not an idiot. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm pretty sure sociopaths at least can understand the concept of why someone would be crying 2 days after their son died and they're at the funeral. It was a dumb line. It went too overboard, but even that was just the beginning. The way this movie handles its expository dialogue is embarrassing. Embarrassing. There's a scene a little bit later where his mom is talking to the wife of his brother, his deceased brother. So this is his mother's daughter-in-law. It's her daughter-in-law. They wanted to let the audience know, which we figured out. We figured it out already. Good actors, they're acting well. We can tell, okay, that must be the wife of his brother. We figured that out. But they have a line where they're getting a little argument, and the mom says to her, because she's yelling at her, and she said, basically, all due respect to you, just pour my drink, because she was kind of bartending at the moment for some reason. She was pouring drinks behind the bar. But anyway, the mom didn't say all due respect to you or all due respect, just pour my drink. She said, all due respect to my daughter-in-law, pour my drink. Talking to her daughter-in-law, that's just an awkward way of talking. And it actually can confuse people and make her think that that's not their daughter-in-law. And that's... You could be watching and be like, oh, I thought that was her daughter-in-law, but she's saying all due respect to my daughter. Wait, what's going on? Why would you say it like that? It was an odd way to say, that's my daughter. We already get that, but there could have been a much more, natural way to say it. Even something as, look, I know you're my daughter-in-law, but blah, blah, blah. Even that would have been more natural. Still a little bit on the nose, still annoying expository dialogue. But there's dialogue in this movie that could have been still annoying, but so much better. They just chose the worst option. There's a scene a little bit later where a sheriff, I don't remember if he's a sheriff or something, but he's some kind of a, he's a law enforcement official at the island. And then there's a point where he figures out this guy has broken parole and has a warrant out and everything, and is actually suspected for some crazy stuff. So he ends up calling the FBI. FBI's on their way. Very quickly, some people show up on a boat. He's like, damn, I didn't expect the FBI to be here so quick. Which right there, we're like, okay, it's probably not the FBI. That was a kind of dumb line, but okay. There's a lot of lines in this, like, that was dumb. That was dumb. That was a stupid line. That was annoying. This particular case, a mildly annoying line tells us it's probably not the FBI. He goes out, and they're getting off the boat, and clearly they're not FBI. They're not acting like FBI. They're not acting like cops at all. At first, he's like, what's going on, guys? And then he's trying to figure out, you could see, because he's a good actor, you could see in his eyes and everything, he's like, what the hell? And then he's like, what unit y'all with? And they didn't say nothing. They kept on moving. And now you see a little bit of panic in his face because he's a good actor. And he busts out his weapon. He busts out his weapon like, okay, and we're like, oh, crap, what's going down? Because that's obviously not FBI. He knows it now. He can see they're not FBI. You know what the movie does next? The dude literally goes, can't be the FBI. Oh my God. Oh my God. Stuff like that. There's another, I'm going to throw out one more. These are examples where the main character, Scott Eastwood's character, is looking around the house. He's trying to find this item or whatever because his brother had something very valuable. And he's at like a wine cellar or something, and he pushes the cellar, and it goes, it opens. So it's like a secret door, a secret passage to something. And we know, oh crap, he just found something interesting. He turns around and goes, a secret door, a secret passageway to an area that has not yet been explored. I'm paraphrasing, but something like he went out of character. It was out of character. Normally, he would, people just look at each other like, what the freak? And then you go in there. We get it. We saw it was a secret passage, a secret door. Everything is flat explained to us. I mean, to the point that's just like someone does something, we see it happening, and then someone else says that what they're doing. He's climbing the ladder. What are we, stupid? We see that over and over throughout the movie. Also, so cliche. So cliche. Everything that you think is going to happen in this movie that you've seen in every cliche action movie ever made, but not to the point of parody. Like, it's trying to be serious. Like, I don't sense this as a parody. This is trying to be a serious movie. But I mean, it's just terrible. Like all the cliche moments over and over, to the point of his mom almost falling off a cliff and holding on for dear life. Help! Help! One moment he's fighting with one of the villains, and this other guy, who's another good guy, is close by, picks up a weapon. We know, okay, he's gonna try to fire on what's going on. He's trying to fire at the bad guy. He points it at him. The guy doesn't know he's there. So in any real world situation, what do? You freaking blow the guy's brains out. You don't announce it first. But like every movie, you gotta announce it first and say something cool before you fire the shot. Hey, asshole! Which, of course, gives the guy enough time to look and then react and not get and shoot the dude back and kill him. So the good dude gets killed because he had to yell, "Hey, asshole!" before firing off the weapon. And insane. I will say Kevin Durand is pretty good as the villain. He is it's a decent villain because this dude is. You need someone who is a total asshole who you just absolutely despise because the protagonist is kind of an asshole because he's a sociopath. And I thought that Kevin Durand as the villain was pretty good, and they accomplished that. Again, some terrible lines of dialogue he had multiple times. They had to read the script. These actors had to be there like, God. I just can imagine them talking backstage, hanging out in the trailer like, this script sucks. How this got from the script onto the screen on a film that had, I don't know what the budget was, but it had to be decent. There was some good action shots in here. It does feel low budget at times, but then again, the cinematography and some of the special effects and some of the explosions and whatnot, and seemed like you had to have some kind of a budget. You also had to pay Mel Gibson to be in this movie. The budget is exactly $10 million. $10 million. And I know that's not a big giant budget movie for this day and age, but still, $10 million. Mel Gibson, and you throw a script that's absolutely laughable. And there are points in this movie where things are happening and lines are being spoken, stuff that's supposed to be emotional or touching, and we're just laughing our ass off. Just laughing. It's hilarious. This movie is so bad it gets funny. The first half of it I feel is frustrating because I want the movie to be good because I feel like it could be good and should be good. But the dialogue and the lines are so bad and I'm just getting pissed off like, oh my God, they think we're so dumb. And then the second half, you just forget that and start laughing. You just start laughing. You're like, you know what? Screw it, man. Movie's not going to get any better, and let's just have fun with it. There are moments that are supposed to be funny where he's in a big action. He's running around, there's guns firing and everything. He keeps calling his psychiatrist, Mel Gibson, and telling him that he's having a situation. He needs help. What has got to make a tough decision. And those scenes can be a little bit funny. And I think they were supposed to be funny, but there's a lot of moments that were not supposed to be funny that are just straight up hilarious, and that's not good. At the end of the day, I would have to say, please avoid this movie unless you just want to laugh, get together with some friends. You might find it funny, but they really insult the audience in a movie that could have been very good and an interesting concept, something a little bit different, and it could have been really good. Instead, it's a joke because they think we are complete morons. And those examples are just a few of the many examples in this movie. Because of the interesting concept, because there is some good cinematography in this movie, because there's some decent acting in this movie, and because it's so bad that it actually gets entertainingly hilarious, I cannot say this movie is total trash. But, ladies and gentlemen, hard pass on Dangerous. This movie is so freaking terrible with its script. And I don't know who to blame. The director's the same guy that he did Saw 5, and I don't remember Saw 5 having a horrible script like that. I'm not saying Saw 5 is brilliant, but you know what I mean. I don't remember that particular issue. So it might just be the writer of this movie who doesn't have a lot of credits to his name. I don't know what to tell you guys, but wow, this was some experience. Have a great day, everyone. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Look forward to more reviews on Eric's House. We'll talk to you next time.